Welcome to AARP, Arizona Hispanic Connection. Educate. Celebrate. Connect. Arizona Hispanic Connection.
Welcome to Arizona Barrio Stories. Thank you for being a part of our community. Our community has grown because of you. Our numbers are growing, our comments are growing, our posts are growing. It's all because of you. We love your posts and your comments. Before we get started today, we will be right back right after this message.
Hi, this is David Parra Luna with AARP Arizona Hispanic Connection. I'm inviting you to join this important series on Let's Talk Salud, Dinero y Amor. We'll be addressing topics such as Social Security, pensions, IRAs, 401ks, Medicare, and topics very much linked to retirement. We're all going to be there one day, and not only for us, but for our children. Feel free to give me a call if you want to talk to me about these topics, and I would love to have you join all this series. It's going to be fun and informative. Thank you.
Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in today. We have a special team member. And you know what? It takes a team to do what we are doing for you. Our today's team member is David Parra Luna with AARP Arizona Hispanic Connection. Welcome, David.
My pleasure, Irma. It's always great to be with you.
And thank you for being a part of this team. You are a treasure chest of wealth of information, and with AARP and the information you're giving us, I'm hoping somebody out there thinks, wow, I could use that. We want to thank you. And what are we covering today?
Well, first, 18 years with AARP, I must have learned a little bit at least, right? You know, we're going to cover 3 of the 5 benefits from Social Security. People might remember that we covered retirement. In this time, we'll cover the disability benefit, the survivor's benefit, and the SSI benefit.
It's funny. It's people sometimes, and especially myself, you don't know what you don't know until you need it.
Right.
And then that's when you scramble and you think, oh, I should have listened, I should have wrote it down. So today, I hope you have paper and pencil. This is important stuff. Tell me, what is disability? Give me a definition as far as when we get old, well, not even when we get older, but what would be the definition of a disability in relation to what we were talking today?
Of course. You know, a lot of times when we think about Social Security, we think about retirement only. But as I have said, Social Security has 5 benefits. And typically retirement is, you know, when we get to that age of 62, 65, 67. But even while we are younger, you know, working, sometimes people become disabled due to a health condition or an accident. They do happen. And that's when Social Security can come in and provide benefits. However, you know, a lot of times I get a lot of calls on disability. By the way, this is called SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. This is different than SSI, and we'll be seeing the differences as we go along. But only Social Security, the administration of Social Security, can declare a person disabled. Not your doctor, not so-and-so, but it has to be an application, and Social Security has to review it, and they will determine whether your condition deems them declaring you disabled. In this declaration of a person being disabled, goes by a very strict definition. I even get surprised. Let me read it to you. It is a condition that inhibits a person from working and that is expected to last at least 1 year or result in death. That's how critical the condition has to be. They're not going to declare a person disabled just because. And let me also mention that there is a list of about roughly 250 ailments or impairments that if they're on the list, if your condition is on that list, the chances of you being declared disabled increase greatly. Let's remember that once a person is declared disabled, they will receive a benefit for life. That's why Social Security is very careful in examining the applications and making sure that a person indeed is, that the situation, the condition can be declared as that person being disabled.
Now, are credits needed for that?
Credits. This is a very, very important question because no benefit in Social Security requires more than 40 credits, which, as we have reviewed in past shows, you can accrue in 10 years. Quarters, points, or credits are the same thing. It refers to a 3-month period in which you work and pay the FICA tax. And in 2022, we're looking at $1,500. If you make $1,500 in earnings, you get 1 point. So, whereas for retirement, you need 40, there are some benefits that you do not necessarily need all 40 credits. So, for the disability benefit, it depends on when the disability happened. But you do have to have some credits, definitely.
So I can't work one day and apply for the next day.
That is correct. That is correct. So sometimes, let me give you an example. There was a case where a friend of mine contracted Parkinson. The condition was there. That condition was one where a person can be declared disabled. But she had to have work within the past 10 years, 5. And she had only worked 4. She didn't get it. As simple as that. So there has to be, and now we're moving into the realm of the credits and also 2 tests related to recent work and the duration of the work test. And that's exactly what I just said. Depending on when the disability happened, you probably will have to work a few years in the last this many years. Sounds a little complicated. It's not. But all the people have to do is apply whenever they feel that their condition is one that will not allow them to work for 12 months or perhaps result in death.
The process, how much time does it take? I mean, I apply for disability benefits. Is there a time limit or tell me about that?
You know, this is very tricky because let me mention that there is a 12-month retroactive benefits. In other words, Social Security can pay up to 12 months retroactively. That means that by the time your condition was approved and the person was declared disabled, there was a process. And there's also a 5-month waiting period for benefits. So that's why it's very important to apply as soon as the person feels that they can no longer work, and even before. In the end, Social Security is going to review the application, and they will determine what date. They will say this is the day where we feel that your disability started. So it's important to start soon with the application process.
Now, are there any other benefits that go along with it?
Yes. First of all, let me also mention that as with all the other benefits, the dependents can potentially get benefits. Spouses and ex-spouses. And let me say something about ex-spouses because I am seeing lots of divorces these days. I think it's fair to say. People need to know that the divorce rule is that a person must have been married at least 10 years in order for you to get benefits from what we call your ex. Okay? This applies to retirement benefits and obviously for disability benefits and other benefits. So that's very, very important. So the ex-spouse can get benefits, and the spouse, of course, of the disabled person can get benefits, definitely. If children are 18 or younger, they can get benefits as well. Once they hit 18, if they are still in school, even after they hit 19, they will get benefits, and then they'll stop at 19 if they're still in school. And the spouse has to be of age. In other words, no younger than 62. No younger than 62 to claim the disability benefit on behalf of the spouse that became disabled.
It's good to know, especially with the dependents, because, you know, single moms and having probably, you know, a few kids that need to benefit from that.
Yeah. Another thing that I forgot, and I'm sorry, I almost interrupted you, is that Medicare, though Medicare starts at 65, when a person is declared disabled, after receiving the disability benefit for 24 months, 2 years, they become eligible for Medicare.
Ooh, say that one more time.
Yes. Even though Medicare is given to people at 65, when somebody is declared disabled, after 2 years of receiving the disability benefit, they become eligible for Medicare, though they haven't hit 65 yet.
That's good to know.
Yes.
I hope you're writing this down.
Yes, yes.
So, when it comes to disability, it's good to remember they have to apply. They have to be on a list of things that qualify. It might take a little bit longer than maybe what they thought, and it does apply to exes and children. So those are good things to remember.
Yeah. One thing that I would also like to mention is that there's something called ticket to work, or something to that effect. That means that some people who are declared disabled, at some point, they even, if they get a little better in their condition, they feel they can work, I would advise them to call the Social Security office, because there is a program that would allow them to work just a little bit, because they don't want you to make too much money and then you lose your benefit. So I would strongly recommend, if somebody's in that situation where they feel they can work a little bit, to call Social Security and ask for that famous ticket to work.
So a limited amount of hours.
That's
or
correct.
Limited amount of days.
Yes.
They won't be penalized.
And they will give them all the details when they call Social Security. Yes.
And you're going to provide a number for us too.
Definitely.
And a link.
Yes. And by the way, you know, I'm always open. My number will appear on the video, and they can call me anytime. My email address as well, anytime. I answer the phone 24/7, and it is my pleasure to always provide this kind of information on one-to-one. You know, when people call me.
Before we go to our next subject, is there anything else you can think of as far as disability that you might want us to know?
You know, I just would encourage people to remember to follow the rules. In terms of how much you can work and all that, it's important to follow the rules. That's probably the only thing that I may have missed, but I think we covered pretty well.
Thank you. Well, okay, so now let's go on to our next one.
Survivor's benefit. You know, deaths do happen. And I'm sure, like, I know a friend of mine who died young. I mean, I don't think I have ever forgotten. That case always pops into my mind. He was young. He died. So the survivor's benefit is when the contributor works. When the contributor works, then there is a benefit that can be given to survivors. We always and usually think of the wives, right? The widows, and or the widower if it was the other way around, and children. And there are obviously some rules as well for the survivor's benefit.
Good to know. So, again, are credits needed for that?
Yes. And like I said, 40 is the maximum number of credits that one will need for retirement. But in terms of the other benefits, it can be lower than that. Depends on when things happen. Let me give you an example. A worker in their early and mid-20s will need 6 credits. At age 40, they will need 18 credits. And from 40 to 62, they will need all 40 credits. So it depends on when the person died, that person must have had that number of credits to have benefits that they can go to the survivors. So yes, they are needed, and it all depends on when the death happened.
Are there any other requirements as far as duration of marriage? You kind of tapped on it before. Does it apply here also?
Yeah. You know, this is with at least 9 months of marriage, that person will have benefits. But let's keep in mind, one thing is to have the duration of the marriage, which at a minimum is 1 year, but the age is important. The age is important because even though a person may have lost, let's just go again with the traditional model. If a wife loses the husband, but the wife is too young, at least this benefit for survivors, you have to be at least 60 to claim benefits. Or if the person is disabled, 50. So it's very important. So somebody may have lost the husband or the spouse, but if they're not at least 60, they will not be able to claim benefits. However, let us suppose that this couple had children, and the children are still 16 or younger.
So not 18?
For the spouse to get benefits before age 60, if they had young children, 16 and younger, then they'll give benefits to the widow in this case. So the widow will only get benefits, survivor's benefits, if she's still raising children 16 or younger. Now, the children can get benefits as well, and they will get it as long as they are younger than 18 or 19 if they are still in school. So here are two scenarios, right? One is for the widow, which she has to be either 60 or older, or be raising children that are younger than 16. Or the children can also get benefits, but they have to be younger than 18 or 19 if they are still in school.
Another reason to stay in school.
Yes.
Who else is eligible in addition to spouses, ex-spouses? You've hit children. Anybody else?
Yes. Good question. Because sometimes parents depend on at least 51% or more on the person that died.
So parents also.
Yes. So they could become survivors in that sense that they depended on the person 51% or more. So parents can be eligible for survivor's benefit, but let me add, provided they don't have their own benefit. Because if they accrue their own benefit, then they probably will get their benefit.
Good
so it's
to
very
know.
important. Yes, very
Good to know.
important. Mm-hmm.
Wow. This information is so important. I mean, when you think about it, like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know until you need it.
Right.
Anything else you want us to know about benefits for survivors, or are we ready for SSI?
Yeah. You know, I just want to say that Social Security is one of my favorite topics. I'm very passionate about Social Security because I understand the importance of this program. Very, very important. You know, let's remember that this was started in 1935. This is right after the Great Depression, where people lost jobs, savings, and they had nothing, literally. Many people lost everything. So that's the reason why this program was established, to make sure that when we get to that age of retirement, that something comes our way. And I've also said it, you know, it's not going to provide everything that you need. I think Social Security uses 30% as the amount that is supposed to replace or what you will need in retirement. So somehow, and we're going to talk about the somehow in the next shows, you must consider other sources of income so that you can get that other 70%. You know, where's that other 70% going to come from? Because you know, we will all need a certain amount to kind of keep our the style of living that we want for retirement. So just keep in mind that Social Security doesn't meet all your needs. Only about 30 in retirement, but you know, the disability, the survivors, and now the SSI, these are benefits that a lot of people don't know about, and they're there in case something happens, like a disability. Nobody wants to become disabled, but things do happen. Nobody wants to die young, but that also happens. So Social Security kind of meets you in the different needs that you may have from the time you contribute until the time you claim your Social Security benefit.
Now, in one of our past shows, you did define SSI. Tell us again, what is SSI?
Yeah, this is another benefit. Remember I said that the disability benefit, it's SSDI? Well, that stands for Social Security Disability Insurance. That one you have to have worked. You have to have credits, as you put it. SSI is the only benefit that requires no credit. And one of the reasons is that SSI, which stands for Supplemental Security Income. So it's income to supplement, especially when people have lower income in retirement. Maybe their disability benefit or retirement benefit is too low. So this benefit, if you meet the requirements, comes to supplement what you already have. So let's keep that word very, very clear in our minds. It's a supplemental security income. Does not need for people to have work. And let me also say this, SSI does not come from taxes that we pay. It comes from the general fund of the U.S. government, of the budget. So some people says, how can it be? How can this person be getting this benefit if that person never worked? I've known of cases, Irma, where somebody who got SSI was getting more benefits than somebody who worked all their lives. Ooh. It has happened. So, and then they get mad. I said, don't get mad. That's the rules, you know. I don't make the rules. But again, SSI is one of those benefits that does not require for somebody to have worked. Actually, they're not even going to take them into account. There are other requirements, though.
And how much is that? How much is that benefit? And how would I, not me, but how would somebody become eligible?
Yeah. Let's say that in 2022, the benefit for one person is $841 a month. And for a couple, $1,261. So let's have this picture here. So you have this is the federal benefit. And let me add, some states like California add an additional amount, whatever they want to add, to those federal levels. These are the federal levels that I just mentioned. Each state is more than free and to add anything if they want to. And I know California
So
does.
it might change from state to state.
Yes. So that is the standard benefit rate. So let's say that the couple's benefit is $1,261 and they had $1,200 countable income. In other words, whatever is countable, they added up and they came up with $1,200. Well, they're only going to get $61 for SSI because it supplements, it raises whatever you have to the level. But let's put it the other way. Let's say somebody only has $61. Guess what? That couple is going to get $1,200 worth of SSI. So again, it supplements whatever you have, and it raises that amount to the level, the federal level, which again is $1,261 per couple, $841 per individual, and these change every year.
Oh my, that's good to know. Do they count resources?
Yes, good question. So no credits are counted for this, but the income will be counted. And I'm not going to get into all the details of how they count all the monies, but let's say somebody, an older person, lives in a house with family, right? So how the setup or setting in that house, how much they pay for food, for rent,
utilities.
that's going to be kind of tricky, because Social Security may say, well, you're telling me that you pay $200 worth of rent, but in my estimation, you really should be paying this amount because of the total in the family, and then the rent of how much you pay. So they may have their own way to calculate what is countable income. Again, I'm not going to get into all these details, but there's a way to count the income by Social Security. So they're going to be counting all the income, and based on that, they're going to say, okay, so your countable income is this amount. So you exceeded the level of federal level of SSI, so I can't give you anything. Or you know what? You're right here. So let me boost that, let me supplement that to bring it up here. That's kind of like the concept. Resources. You cannot have more than $2,000 in the bank.
I was wondering if you were going to say that. And they
As
do
an
check,
individual.
They do check that.
Yes. And you cannot, as a couple, that is raised to $3,000. Let's keep in mind, Irma, that all the benefits that are, I guess, in the form of welfare, if you will, they are for people who have very low income. So they have to have rules, you know?
Yeah.
And so they will count the incomes. And another thing, let's say that you as an individual have 2 cars. So then Social Security says, no, you have more resources than what you're supposed to, because look at that luxurious luxury card that you have, right? Those things are going to play a part into the process of the application. Or if you have 2 homes, can you imagine? Then Social Security says, for sure, you have too many resources, you don't qualify. Another thing is that it's very important that this is the only, with very few exceptions, the only benefit that requires you to be a U.S. citizen, the SSI. None of the others. The other ones are being a permanent resident suffices. There are some exceptions to that rule even, you know, so there are ways, like if you got your green card by August 22nd, 1996, and you came with a green card and you've been here ever since, or you accrued your 40 credits already, those are scenarios where you can, without the citizenship, you can get SSI. So again, SSI is one of those benefits that has a lot of rules. Another thing, let's say you go to Mexico or you're from another country and like to travel. If you stay in that country more than 30 days, you need to let Social Security know, and for every month that you stay there, they won't give you the money.
Oh my.
And then when you come back, you have to spend another 30 days to resume that benefit.
This is good information.
It is good information, good to know, and this tells us that this is a very, I guess, very strict benefit, SSI. Remember, it's free money, so you have to adhere to the rules of Social Security. Mm-hmm.
Before we wrap up today, can you think of any other benefits that come along with SSI or anything else that we need to know?
I believe that another thing that I need to say is this, and I have to say this. Before 65, you would need, in addition to meeting the income and resources limits, you would have to be disabled before 65 to get SSI. After 65, you only need to meet the income and resources, but you don't have to be disabled. That is a very important difference. So the disability would be required before 65, in addition to the test of income and resources. After 65, it's all about the income and the resources. You would not need to be declared disabled to receive this benefit.
David, you are a wealth of information.
Thank you.
Thank you for partnering up with us. And they always say it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a lot of partners with a common goal to support this platform. Thank you for helping us out. You're a treasure chest for us.
Thank you. Much appreciated. I just want to reiterate that My number is there. People should feel free to call me, and we can have a one-on-one conversation for as long as it takes to go into any of the details that they so choose for any of these benefits. Thank you again.
And you're available 24/7.
24/7. I do that not only because I get paid, but more than that, it's like a service to the community. Picking up that phone makes me really happy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, and I can't wait for our next episode.
Me too. More very important topics are coming our way, so stay tuned.